Hey guys, and on today's podcast, we will be talking about team composition and elemental reaction. And today we have a guest star named Arsenic. Say hi, Arsenic.
Hello.
Arsenic has been playing the game for almost a year now and knows way too much about all this stuff. So we're going to jump right in. Yeah. Okay, so the first element we're going to be talking about is the animal element. Care to tell us some about the animal element, Arsenic?
What's it called? The animal element is just the wind element, and it really only has one reaction, which is swirl, and like basically like gets infused with other elements and just starts like spreads it out, I guess. And that's basically all there is to it.
What elements can be swirled?
Um, Geo, I think is the only Geo and Dendro are the only elements that can't be swirled. Hydro, Pyro, Electro, and not Hydro, Cryo can all be swirled.
And next we have the element of dendro. Arsenic, care to tell us about that?
What's it called? Dendro is an extremely big element. It has well, big as in reactions. There's so much going on with it. Like right now, we're doing like spread and aggravate because it's just Electro and Dendro. And like you can like make a hyperbloom reaction by like adding electro to hydro and dendro, and most of these reactions rely on what's it called, elemental mastery, which is like really important for most dendro units in this game. And you can do virginon, I keep forgetting how to pronounce it, with dendro and then hydro, and that creates like dendro blooms. And then if you add pyro to that, the chorus pop. We talked about hyperbloom, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so it's basically like hyperbloom, but we don't add electro to the blooms. Then I'm forgetting a few of them. I think we have burning, which is just dendro and pyro, and oh, geo and what's it called? Geo and Animal have no reactions with Dendro, which is pretty sad, and neither does Cryo, surprisingly.
Yeah, that's
It's
really
just,
surprising. Especially since
but
Hydro
there's
does.
what's it called? But like Cryo does like have like a team composition place with some like Hyper Bloom teams or Bloom teams. They just it's just like Cryo Bloom or whatever, and it's like a different way to get like freeze and like Bloom damage at the same time.
Okay, and next we're going to be talking about the element of electro. So you can
Called
tell us about that, Arsenic?
Basically, Electro has like a few reactions, nowhere near as like diverse as like what's it called, Dendro was,
Yeah,
but
dendro is really complex.
it's still like I think the most versatile like element in the game, which is why I always use it. Like almost all of my teams have like an Electro unit. No. Anyway, so um I'm trying to think.
I know one of
Um
the main elemental reactions with electro is cryo because it just does such good damage.
oh
You want to
yeah,
talk about that
super.
some?
I love using super conduct, but like I never have enough cryo characters to like really do anything with the reaction.
Yeah, I have like no cryo 5 stars.
There's like I don't actually have a cryo DPS, which is probably why I don't use it.
Yeah, me
But
neither.
other than like super conduct, there's electro charge, overloaded, swirl, obviously, and I keep forgetting the last one. But that's okay.
I mean, there's also the hyper bloom with the dendro,
Oh yeah,
which
there's
is what we're
hyper
using right
bloom,
now.
spread with dendro. Yeah, so what's it called? Many are just, I think they're like mainly just like level based. At least electro reactions are. So like you do literally have to just level up characters for them. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Overload, but the thing about Overload is that it explodes a lot, and it's kind of weird to use if like you don't have like a shield or something.
Yeah, I've tried
Like
using it before. It's just I don't know, it just feels weird.
yeah, it does. And then the same thing can happen with electro charge. Like the more I think about it, like the electro element is pretty like unstable.
Yeah,
Like your own
it's
character can
weird.
get harmed very easily. Um,
Next, we are going to be talking about the element of pyro, which personally is one of my favorites to use just because my main character I use is a pyro. And one of the best elements to use with pyro is both hydro, which is water, and then cryo, which is ice. And by using both hydro and cryo, you can freeze the enemies and then do big damage by melting them. Arsenic, have you ever tried using that?
no, because I never actually used cryo characters, despite it being like my second favorite element. I just don't use it. But I do know the thing that's like very confusing about me about pyro is that like you can have melt and then reverse melt with cryo. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, weird thing about pyro is that like even though you might be using the same elements, so like with melt with the ice and the fire, cryo and pyro, it can do different damage depending on which is applied first, which can get really confusing. I don't even know which one does more, honestly.
I think reverse melt does marginally more, maybe.
Yeah, I know
But
one does like 1.5 times damage, one does 2, but
it's kind of weird because like it really just depends on your like team rotation, which like is not going to be that great if you just don't play the game that often.
yeah, even playing the game that often, like I really don't understand team rotation very well.
I don't know. I just do based off how many like to optimize the amount of time my DPS has with like the buffs and everything. I don't really pay attention other than that.
Yeah, I know to apply and then react. That's really all I do.
What's it called? I like melt though. Like it's reliable. Is it like the best? I don't know, but like it's reliable, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and then with overload, which you talked about earlier with the electro and the pyro, it's just I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I
Yeah,
don't like
because
it
it
as much.
explodes and like a lot is happening. That one, a lot is happening.
Yeah. The next element we will be talking about is the cryo element, which is the element of ice. You want to tell us about that, Arsenic?
Yeah, I will, since apparently the host doesn't know much
Hey,
about it.
I know freeze, I know freeze.
Okay, so like freeze is just like obviously hydro and cryo being applied at the same time.
Yeah,
But
because like
like
the cold and
you
the
can use
water
something
mixed
else
like an
to
ice.
freeze, which is like I think very cool, and it's called shatter, and where you take like physical damage to like an opponent, and like it basically just shatters. That one is weird because like the other two I think depend on elemental mastery mainly, but shatter just depends on nothing.
It just kind of happens.
Yeah, it just happens. Otherwise, the cryo element, there's not much that has to be discussed since like what's it called? Freeze, melt,
And then
superconduct, they've
superconduct
already
from the
talked about.
electro. Yeah.
Yeah, they've already been talked about.
The next element we are going to be talking about is the element of hydro, which is water. And this is a fun one. So, Arsenic, you want to tell us about that?
I think Hydro is a weird like element because like if any character is like a Hydro character, they always scale off of like HP, and it's like the healing element. But like otherwise than that, there's like Hydro, like you can scroll Hydro, you can use it for freeze, and as well there's Vaporize and Electro Charge. And Electro Charge is especially like annoying to use like when you're exploring because it like
It affects the water, and then you're like dying when you're trying to get
yes,
across the
especially
river.
in Inazuma. In Inazuma, it's so annoying because you just like die by standing there.
Yeah, it's like the nation of Electro and it's islands. So there's just water everywhere. And there's like Electro. things everywhere because, nation of Electro. So you're
Yeah,
just
and it's
constantly
so
dying.
annoying to travel through. But it like hydro is useful, especially with freeze when you need to like traverse across like water and you're too lazy to go like an overland route and you can just like freeze the water with like Kaya or something.
Yeah, you can use any of the cryo character or almost all of them. A lot of them you can, and you can just
Which
get
is why
across.
we probably don't cryo catalyst yet.
One thing I really like though is like Ayaka, because her skill, one of her skills is that when she is going across, or no, when she's running,
It's just
she like makes
sprinting, right?
ice, and then you can use the ice to kind of like make a bridge.
Yeah. It's very fun using Ayaka, but like also I find it annoying because it's so disorientating. Because she goes like invisible when she sprints.
Yeah, you can't really see where you are, and then if you go over like a little ledge, it like stops, and you can't go over the ledge.
Yeah, they're saving us kind of.
And the final element we have to go over is the element of Geo, which is honestly really boring. So I'm gonna let you take this one, Arsenic.
Like I don't ever use any Geo characters ever because the reactions of Geo is only limited to crystallize, and that's like it.
Yeah, you can
It
crystallize
only
every
it's
element
like
but Dendro. So it's like Geo and Dendro are like horrible. Don't do that together.
no. It's just so weird because you can't do much with it. You're just stuck with it.
Yeah, like it's
Like
really good for shielding because like crystallize gives you little like things you can pick up, little gems, and you can use those gems to make like elemental shields, which is nice.
yeah, which is also why like Geo teams are usually like only ever like Geo. Like the
Yeah, like
characters are almost always Geo.
all four of the characters you can possibly have, they're all Geo because that's just what works because there's really no reactions with it.
And there's no need for anyone else unless you're like trying to optimize your team. But like you'd probably want Geo Resonance, which is like two Geo characters on a team to like I forgot, is it to boost defense?
I don't know. It's either like increased shield strength or
It's
defense.
probably increased shield strength.
Yeah. I can't check in the domain, so
Yeah, that's sad. We can't check. But like moving on to like team compositions, like let's
Geo,
like this one.
yeah, it's good for shielding. Like, which makes sense because it makes little gems and some of the best shielders in the game are Geo, like Zhongli. Zhongli is a great shielder.
Yeah, especially like you just need him like C0, not even C6 or like C1. Like
Yeah,
maybe
and
like the 4-star version, but like it's really good.
yeah, and then the C0 stuff means how it's like when you get more than one copy of a character, like if you pull them from their the banner and obtain them more than once, you can get like buffs.
Yeah, that's
If no one knew
true.
that, I don't know if
But
that's a known fact.
it's probably not a known fact. But like basically just makes the characters better to use.
Yeah,
But like for 5-star characters, that's kind of hard to get unless you're like extremely lucky. But like
yeah,
moving on from like talking about the actual characters, but like team compositions, there's like a bunch of like thought that goes into team building because there's like resonance and like what's it called? There's team resonance and there's where like you need two characters from each element to like get a different buff. Like two hydro is like plus like
here, wait, I can look at
something
it
plus
now.
three.
Like the resonance, like right now on our team that we have two pyro characters, which means that we have an attack increase, and then you see like
Yeah, I
water
think
has
it's
the
like
HP
10%.
and yeah, 25% attack and some are 10. I don't know. But then the Geo one, to confirm, it's increased shield strength. That's what it was.
Okay. So we got to it. And then cryo is like increasing crit rate
Yeah.
when like stuff is frozen against like frozen like monsters or whatever.
I really don't understand the resonance that much. I just know that like Hydro gives you an HP boost and then like yeah, that's about it.
called? What are the other ones we're missing? I know
Uh,
animal is like increased in speed.
movement speed, yeah.
Yeah, and then trying to think. What's the last element? Electro. Electro's energy recharge,
Oh, yeah, it is,
which
and
is
that's really
why
good for
like
Raiden because she based off of energy recharge.
yeah, which is why like if you ever have like a character that needs like a lot of like energy to like get their ult back up, you probably want like two electro characters on
Yeah,
to like because then every electro attack would be counted as like energy, would make energy. Those energy particles.
and then there's also the Dendro resonance, which that one's like elemental mastery, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's elemental mastery.
I think it's
Yeah.
80. You like get an increase of
No, it's
80.
50 and then after
No.
you
Oh,
trigger
wait, yes.
after you trigger any reactions, it's like another 20.
Oh, it's now 30. That's where I'm getting 80. Wait. Elemental
No,
mastery is
it's
increased by 50, and then after doing that, they gain 30 for 6 seconds, and after those, it's oh, so it depends on what reaction you're doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is why it's so confusing.
Yeah, and then like if you just have four random elements together, it's just like
You
you have like
more
distance.
resistance. Yeah,
The
but
funny thing
that's
is that
boring.
like physical damage is counted as like a different type of elemental damage, but there's no like physical character. Like they all have like vision. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, you have some that like people use as a physical damage dealer, like Eula.
Yeah,
But
Eula's usually just physical, but like
yeah, but she can do like cryo ice powers. It's not her strength.
no, and also it takes like I think like a lot of investment to like physical characters to make them like good.
Okay, because there's like a special artifact you can use. Actually don't even know what it is. I think it's the
I think it's
I
Bloodstained
have one
Chivalry
somewhere.
and
Oh yeah,
the
it,
what's it called? There's one like that's like
I don't know.
based on the tree. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, the doctor one. Oh my, pale flame.
Yeah, Pale Flame,
Yeah,
Pale Flame.
and then you can get like at it as a main stat on one of your artifacts, like showing on my screen right now. But you can only get it on this one, and it can't be like a little stat like these. It has to be the main one, which is really weird.
The card team compositions require like a lot of work because like depending on what characters you have on that team, like a lot is gonna like change.
Yeah, and even just changing one character can completely change how the rest of your team works together.
And how much damage you do, which is like the whole point of building them correctly.
Yeah,
Well,
and
not
then
even
like you
correct.
gotta change builds depending on what like characters you're using.
That
Like
is true.
my Yelan, she has a high elemental mastery because she's like the one who causes the reaction. So I want the reaction to be bigger. But if I were to change her to be like the person doing the damage, I would have to completely change that.
That is true. That is true. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm a little bit like I don't pay attention as much to that because I choose like random characters to like do the most damage, which is kind of like not the best way to play.
I just choose the characters I like.
Yeah, I do that, but usually they're not. They're supposed to be like support characters and not actual like the best characters.
Yeah, like I only build my damage dealers. I really don't build any supports, but you know that.
Yeah, it's honestly it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
I probably built so many support characters because I'm very like invested into making like optimizing the characters that I do like.
Yeah, I built Kazuha and I built Zhongli, and I think that's basically all I've built for support.
Like I've built Bennett, I've built Nahida technically, Chi Chi, Cookie Shinobu, Facial, Shangming, and Sucrose.
Yeah, you're
I
doing way
think
better than I am.
at one point. I don't know. It's just optimization, yay.
Yay. And that concludes our little video podcast thing today. Wasn't that so fun, Arsenic?
Yeah, it was kind of hard multitasking, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, we got it. We got it done.
Anyway, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it should be an honor.
Of course, it's an honor. I treasure this experience with my entire heart.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you would, I knew it. So and that concludes it. So I hope you guys learned a lot, and you will take this information and use it to do better in the game. Goodbye.
Bye.